Sandro Botticelli, the beloved painter of Florence's golden age, created Primavera. Although it is a graceful and lyrical work, the more we look at it, the more we realize how mysterious it is. What does the interaction between Chloris and the wind god Zephyrus on the far right mean? What do the staff and the crowds held by the man on the far left represent? Why are so many kinds of flowers and plants painted in such great detail? What is the meaning of the small cubit above the center? Among the many European paintings, there may be no other work that has drawn as much attention and debate as this one. Only the central Venus is positioned slightly higher than the other figures, and on both sides of Venus, two narratives unfold: spiritual love and physical love. The trees in the background grow vertically, corresponding to the arrangement of the figures, bringing harmony to the composition. The viewer's gaze is naturally drawn to the central Venus as the lines of sight gradually rise towards the edges of the painting. The 9 figures are derived from mythology. From left to right, Mercury, the 3 races, Cupid, Venus, Flora, Chloris, and Zephyrus. Mercury appears to be warding something off his right hand. He is preventing the intrusion of crowds, raising his caduceus, a staff with winged serpents in the wind, which is also a symbol of doctors. The 3 graces, symbols of grace and beauty, are often depicted as companions of Venus. Their intertwined hands and dance represent harmony and elegance. This depiction is interpreted as symbolizing the harmony of love and beauty. Venus, standing in the center, is known as the goddess of love and beauty. Her serene expression and posture are considered to symbolize maternal love and compassion. Above her, Cupid emphasizes the power of love. Venus's abdomen is also rounded. While the exact origins of Primavera are unclear, it is believed to have been commissioned by a member of the Medici family, and if it was created for a celebratory occasion, it may contain a prayer for fertility. In any case, there is no definitive interpretation, leaving room for the viewer's own understanding. The orange trees behind Venus form an outline that could be seen as a horror. A horror might remind the viewer of the Annunciation, where the Virgin Mary receives the news that she will give birth to the Son of God. From this, we might also infer a meaning related to the hope for pregnancy. Flora symbolizes the arrival of spring, flowers, abundance, and the renewal of life. Focusing on Flora's dress, Botticelli presents decorative and stylized patterns. Flora's white rubber pattern dress was likely worn at costume parties of the time. It is likely based on a dress described by Italian Renaissance humanist and poet Poliziano as painted with roses and flowers. The scene of Zephyrus pursuing Chloris represents transition from winter to spring. Botticelli captures the moment when Chloris begins to exhale the breath of spring roses from her mouth, transforming her into the flower goddess Flora. In the 15th century, when Botticelli was active, the Renaissance was in full bloom in Italy. Artists such as Masaccio, known for the tribute money, Uccello, known for the hunt, and Fra Angelico, famous for his Annunciation, were prominent figures. Botticelli's period of activity was slightly earlier than that of the 3 great masters of the High Renaissance, Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, and Raphael. Although Sandro Botticelli achieved greatest success at the height of his career, he was gradually considered outdated with the rise of a new generation of artists like Leonardo da Vinci, and he spent his last decade or so in relative quiet. However, his work was re-evaluated by the Raphaelites about 500 years later, and today he is one of the most beloved painters representing 15th century Italy. During his apprenticeship under Filippo Lippi, he established a style characterized by elegant, decorative lines reminiscent of the Gothic style, without a strict adherence to anatomical accuracy. In his masterpieces, Primavera and The Birth of Venus, he depicts mythological subjects with the same profound reverence as religious paintings. While known for his secular works, in his later years, he was influenced by the preacher Savonarola and turned to religious painting. Except for 2 years spent working in the Sistine Chapel in Rome, he spent most of his life in Florence. Botticelli's relationship with the Medici family, who effectively ruled Florence, played a key role in his artistic development. He received a great deal of support from the Medici, especially Lorenzo de' Medici and his younger brother, Giuliano. The Medici family provided Botticelli with a workshop and commissioned many of his works. For them, another example is the Adoration of the Magi, which shows 4 members of the Medici family. Many figures appear in these scenes, including several members of the Medici family. Cosimo de' Medici, described by Giorgio Vasari as the most outstanding person among the living for his vitality and energy, is depicted as the king kneeling before the Virgin Mary. Through Botticelli's art, the Medici were able to display their power and cultural influence. At the same time, Botticelli gained financial stability and creative freedom under their patronage, allowing him to develop into one of the leading artists of the Renaissance. His works reflect the ideas, and their partnership greatly contributed to the growth of Renaissance art. In Florence, where the splendor of the Renaissance lingers in the air, the younger painter Sandro Botticelli, under the patronage of the Medici family, created the Birth of Venus around 1485. The painting depicts a goddess with silk-like smooth skin and flowing golden hair, standing gracefully on a giant seashell. Even more than 500 years later, this masterpiece continues to captivate us. Why did Botticelli depict Venus in such an unnatural pose? Why does Venus have this expression, even though she has just been born as a goddess? The chair on which Venus stands is unnaturally large and unrealistic compared to her size. What does this symbolize? When creating this work, Botticelli was truly inspired by Ghioscura, a poem by the popular poet Porziano. This epic poem describes a maiden with golden hair floating on the waves, and the painter visualized this image almost literally. Venus stands naked on a giant scarp shell. Her pose is inspired by the ancient Greek and Roman sculpture Mother's Venus, with one hand covering her chest and the other covering her lower body. Her long golden hair flows in the wind, and its radiance is enhanced with gold leaf. Zephyrus, the god of the west wind Zephyrus, is holding an aura as he blows Venus toward the shore. Radiating lines extend from their mouths, visually representing the movement of the wind. Aura. Standing on the shore, Aura spreads out a robe adorned with flowers to welcome Venus. She is one of the goddesses of the seasons and symbolizes the arrival of spring. There are various theories about the mother for Venus in the Birth of Venus. One of the most widely accepted is that she was modeled after Simonetta Vespucci. Simonetta was known as one of the most beautiful women in 15th century Florence and was rumored to have been the lover of Graziano de' Medici, the younger brother of Lorenzo de' Medici. A close observation of Venus's body axis reveals that while she replaces her weight on her right foot, her left hip appears strangely elevated. This is an adaptation of contrapposto, the ancient Greek sculpture technique of weight distribution transformed into a two-dimensional painting. While faithfully recreating the Roman-era sculpture Mother's Venus, Botticelli deliberately tightened her waist to enhance the sense of floating amid waves. The shell has carried various symbolic meanings throughout history. In Western art, it is often depicted as a symbol of fertility, rebirth, and femininity. Additionally, its rounded curves evoke the image of a pregnant berry, making it a symbol of reproductive power. It can also be interpreted as representing the birth of life and motherhood. Botticelli produced works in various genres, including religious paintings, portraits, and mythological paintings. His works are characterized by elegant line drawings, delicate colors, and a deep understanding of classical subjects. His early representative works include religious paintings, heavily influenced by Lippi, such as Madonna and Child with an Angel, and The Adoration of the Magi. Members of the Medici family and Botticelli himself are depicted, suggesting a strong connection with the Medici family. From the late 1470s to the 1480s, under the patronage of the Medici family, he produced masterpieces of mythological paintings, such as Primavera and The Birth of Venus. After the late 1480s, he produced many works with religious themes, such as Madonna of the Magnificat and the Mystic Nativity. These works were influenced by Savonarola's religious reform movement and show a stronger tendency towards mysticism. Mystic Nativity is one of Botticelli's masterpieces from his later years, filled with complex allegories. Angels are depicted dancing in the upper part of the skin, and the Holy Mother and shepherds are depicted in the lower part. Leonardo da Vinci was a painter 7 years younger than Botticelli, and they worked in the same workshop for a time. When Botticelli moved to Verrocchio's workshop at the age of 21, he met Leonardo da Vinci, a 40-year-old who had come from the village of Vinci and would later be called as a universal genius. Among the individuals associated with Botticelli were his teacher, Filippo Lippi, his patron, the Medici family, and Leonardo da Vinci, a painter who worked in the same era, with the possibility of having trained together in Verrocchio's workshop. Filippo Lippi was Botticelli's teacher and a figure who greatly art style. Botticelli trained in Lippi's workshop from the early 1460s, learning painting techniques, particularly those of panel painting and fresco. Botticelli's early works, such as Madonna and Child with an Angel, and The Adoration of the Magi, show a strong influence of Lippi. Lorenzo de' Medici was actually the ruler of Florentine Republic and known as a patron of the arts. Botticelli produced many works under the patronage of the Medici family. The Adoration of the Magi is a representative early works by Botticelli, who was under the Medici patronage. When you hear Raphael, perhaps you think of the school of Athens, of his Madonna and Child images. He was a painter of Madonna and Child figures, a grand fresco artist, a draughtsman, a mythological painter, and of course, a portrait painter. He was known as a genius of imitation, skillfully incorporating works by his contemporaries, like Leonardo da Vinci, into his own. And then there's his last work, The Unfinished Transfiguration. It depicts the magnificent scene of Christ ascending to the heavens with light and composition that seem to symbolize the ideals of Renaissance art. Giorgio Vasari wrote about the production of this work. It seemed that Raphael concentrated all his abilities and tried to show the true value of his efforts and skills in the expression of the face of Christ. After drawing this face rest, he no longer added a brushstroke because death visited him. Raphael fully used all disciplines, including painting and architecture, and pursued the ultimate in beauty. Next time, we will explore the essence of his art, which continued to fascinate popes and nobles, despite his early deaths.